Have you ever faced a choice, knowing turning back could ruin everything, yet felt an irresistible pull? In the scorching desert of Sodom, one woman, Lot's wife, confronted that temptation. This untold story of a biblical woman isn't just about loss, but a profound lesson in faith and redemption. Why did she look back at Sodom, despite God's warning? What tore at her heart? Join us to uncover this dramatic journey where courage clashes with weakness and grace flickers amid darkness. Follow the channel to catch more inspiring spiritual stories. Let divine justice guide you today. In the vast desert where scorching sun turned golden sand into a blinding sheen, Sodom rose like a glittering oasis. Yet behind its opulence lay layers of sin. Amid this hub of lust and ambition lived a woman, Lot's wife, quietly alongside her husband and two daughters. She didn't begin her story with a crown or power, nor was she famed for prophecies or miracles. She was simply a mother, a wife, carrying a fragile faith that flickered amid chaos. Biblical women are often overshadowed, but her anguished journey deserves to be told. Each morning, as the first rays pierced the stained glass window of their home, she awoke with the desert's restless breath. In dreams, she saw herself and Lot in a serene life far from arid winds. But Sodom's reality denied such peace. Her steps marked rugged paths to the lavish market, where marble streets led to stalls of gold and silver, scented with sandalwood perfume. Amid the clamor and hollow laughter, she recalled a simpler past. A tent in an olive grove, her mother's tales of Abraham and Sarah under starry skies. Sodom held a seductive spell, enchanting all who entered. Holding a clay jar of fragrant oil, she sometimes imagined herself a regal queen, draped in silk and jewels. But Lot's anxious gaze snapped her back. His eyes yearned to anchor her to truth. He wasn't easily swayed, a beacon of integrity in a turbulent sea. When Sodom's citizens brawled or noise grew unbearable, she saw him step forward, his calm yet firm voice reasoning and urging repentance. Yet words rarely reach stubborn hearts. Her surroundings boasted grand architecture, carved stone pillars, gem-encrusted pools, and murals of decadent festivals. Sodom was a canvas of splendor and venomous sin. Within it, she walked, her heart torn. Many nights sleepless, she heard winds howl through city wall cracks, a tempting, tormenting call. Stay with us, just a moment, and you'll have it all. The luring melody gripped her mind, making her question if she'd forsaken too much by leaving her homeland. Then came the two angels. No radiant robes or divine weapons, just blazing eyes and a stern warning. Sodom will be destroyed. Flee, don't look back, don't stop. Their words echoed in her heart, yet weighed it down. Clutching Lot's hand, she felt her pulse race, counting down to survival or doom. Desert sand pressed under their hurried steps, her mind wavering. Embrace an uncertain future or glance back at that sinful sanctuary. That night, as darkness pulsed with Sodom's bonfires, she sat by the window, gazing at the city that raised her. Fleeting memories flashed, her daughter's laughter in the halls, the aroma of fresh-baked bread, glowing lantern at feasts. That was her life, swept by a wild river, yet warmed by family. Now she felt each dry grain of sand hinting at death, though deep within clung a faint hope, like a star fading in the black night. This stirred an image of a desert flame, fierce yet beautiful, rising and vanishing swiftly. Am I brave enough to leave it all? She wondered, eyes fixed on the starry dark. The question hung, burning each moment she stood at fate's threshold. This nameless woman, a mother prioritizing her children, could she overcome herself to protect the life God gave? Today, who hasn't faced their own Sodom, bad habits, material desires, or emotional ties that tug at us? When the past call echoes, do you have the courage to let go and step toward light? Her journey, though vague in Scripture, reminds us of faith, loyalty, and sacrifice's value. For in daring to release, we find true freedom and hope. This is the start of Lot's wife's story, not just a flight, but a battle against inner weakness to hold fast to faith, however small its flame. In fire and sand, she became a testament to quiet courage, showing that sometimes letting go is the first step to abundant grace. The desert night pulsed with Sodom's chaotic din, as darkness fell like a cryptic veil over the sinful city. Dry winds hissed against honeycombed stone pillars, heralding a fate about to unfold. In a quiet house beyond the city wall, Lot's wife huddled on the threshold, her heart torn between two forces, fear of God's wrath and a fierce attachment to the life she knew. Shouts from the mob outside seeped through the narrow door, making her heart pound like a war drum. Blinded by lust, the crowd besieged the two angels, strange guests bearing salvation's mission. Their cries demanded her surrender to vile desires. In that moment, she recalled her first steps into this dazzling city, when Sodom gleamed like an oasis of hope, promising wealth and joy. She had dreamed of a peaceful home, but in the den of sin, that home became a relentless test of faith. Lot knelt, his voice urgent yet tender, a plea amid the storm. She listened, but his words drowned in the mob's roars. Pain gripped her chest as she realized Sodom wasn't just her family's dwelling. It was a treasury of memories. Her daughter's giggles racing across golden sands each morning, laughter echoing in the olive garden, the warm aroma of fresh bread as Lot shared quiet tales. She sank into sweet recollections while the present screamed of destruction. But God had decreed, "Flee, don't look back." The command cut like a blade, colder than steel. She felt each slash cleave her soul. The previous night, she dreamed of crimson flames devouring the city, ash clouds rising like demonic hands pulling her back. Yet a gentle light, God's hand, beckoned her forward. That faint glow was both comfort and challenge. Was it a sign of coming grace or a hollow mirage in the dark? In a fleeting lull amid the chaos, she heard her racing heartbeat, the clumsy steps of the mob drawing near. Clutching her daughter's hands, she felt their fragile warmth. "I must protect them, no matter the cost," she vowed. But fleeing was heavy. Desert sand clung to her heels, as if to hold her back. Smoke and sulfur from Sodom stung her nose, evoking memories of lavish feasts, golden lamps swaying over red-clothed tables, dark wine flowing smoothly in crystal goblets. She had raised glasses, laughed amid praises of power. Now all was ash awaiting burial. The first angel whispered, "Go before dawn." She gazed at the sky, twinkling stars recalling God's promise of a blessed generation. Yet her heart sank in regret. She had dreamed of a radiant future, her children growing under olive trees, learning faith and love. Now that future receded, leaving only murky darkness and wrath's cries. Her inner conflict raged as she realized Sodom was sin, but also her life. Since arriving, she'd poured her heart into the city, believing its promises of abundance and freedom. Now she had to forsake it all, fame, memories, even the simple dreams she'd chased lifelong. She stood frozen, a stone statue in the desert. Sweat beaded her brow, but tears held back. She was afraid, yet felt faith's strength urging her forward. Today, many face their own Sodoms, material cravings, toxic attachments, or ingrained habits. When the past calls, we hesitate. Should we let go for God's righteous path, or cling to false safety, knowing destruction looms behind? She recalled Lot's earlier words. The road to Zoar isn't the shortest, but it's the safest, chosen by God. She closed her eyes, breathed deeply, summoning her remaining courage. The desert wind joined an inner voice. Don't look back. Opening her eyes, tears streamed, not from regret, but resolve. She tightened her grip on her daughter's hands and stepped toward dawn, where grace awaited. The initial conflict closed, but this was only the start of a faith-testing journey. She overcame the hardest choice, turning from the past to embrace the future, trusting God's divine justice. With trembling yet steadfast steps, she became a symbol of inner strength and quiet courage. A powerful message for today's audience. Sometimes, to hold fast to faith, we must relinquish the most familiar. Dawn had yet to break, but the eastern sky blushed faintly pink, a whisper of hope amid the cold desert sea. Lot's family slipped from their somber home, leaving behind Sodom's ruined temples and rising smoke from its ashen remains. The sinful city's screams faded, yet their echo lingered, tugging at hearts not fully versed in faith lessons. Lot's wife, her eyes both resolute and frail, gripped her daughter's hands, each step on the rugged path a fight to cling to life. Desert sand dusted her shoulders and hair, as if warning of the grueling road ahead. Each stride was a clash with exhaustion, thirst, and enveloping fear. She often paused, half turning towards Sodom, where smoke loomed like a formless beast, growling for her to look back. But she clenched her teeth, whispering to her daughters, "Zoar awaits us, the promised safe haven." Her voice flowed like a stream in the parched desert, her eyes gleaming with a warrior mother's resolve. Sodom's sounds dimmed, replaced by winds curling around stones, occasionally whipping up small sandstorms. She taught her daughters simple, lilting hymns to challenge their trembling lips. The songs cracked in the vast wilderness, but warmed the girls' tender hearts. She told herself she sang not just for them, but to bolster her own faith, to forget Sodom's impending doom, to release the moments she nearly abandoned all for a hazy future. The sky shifted to vibrant orange as the sun rose, its first rays piercing the desert mist. She lifted her face, letting dawn's light flood her eyes, embracing God's promise. Light triumphs over darkness. A fleeting thought struck. This is a sign. A sacred breath filled her chest, fueling her weary legs. She tightened her daughter's hands, stood taller, and stepped forward, trusting that, however hard, half the victory lay in believing in the guiding light. On the path to Zoar, she faced relentless inner temptations. At times, she nearly collapsed, thirst stabbing her chest like a blade. At times, she longed to surrender, to race back to the opulent city of raucous night feasts, fine wine, and hollow laughter. But then the angel's words echoed, "Don't look back, don't stop." They resounded from her soul's depths, urging her to grip her daughters tighter, bite down and press on, each step a sacred vow to the Almighty. In the desert, she met rough trails, brittle stones crumbling underfoot, deep crevices swallowing light, hinting life's path isn't always rose-strewn. She carried her daughters over sinking sand, guided them past murky streams, despite her worn sandals tearing apart. Sweat soaked her robe, mingling with tears as Sodom's memories surfaced, a distant warmth laced with sorrow. She cradled her daughters, whispering comfort as winds joined the hymns echoing their protector. One day at noon, she let her daughters rest under a lone desert shrub. She opened a sack, dividing dry bread into small portions. On the sand, she sat still, gazing at the empty expanse ahead. She thought of carefree days when her girls played in olive groves, when she and Lot sat under moonlight, sharing tales of Abraham and Sarah, of God's promises. Those memories, like a cool stream, revived her strength to march on, despite regret and remorse weighing her heart. When the angels reappeared, their shimmering wings softly beating, they didn't just guide, but offered encouragement. Persevere, divine justice moves with your steps. She felt warmth spread through her fingers, as if God's hand touched her shoulder, comforting and emboldening. She murmured an old hymn, its soft notes of prayer. Grant us strength, lead us through darkness. It wasn't just a plea, but a declaration of a steadfast heart, wounds yet to heal. Nearer to Zoar, winds carried wildflower scents and the salt of morning dew, signaling safety's approach. She frowned, thinking of Sodom, her second home, however sinful. She wondered if her children, growing here, would hear dawn's birdsong, grasp the faith she built. She pictured her daughters arm in arm, running on clean village paths, not stumbling on hot sand. This vision drove her to lean on faith, quickening her steps despite exhaustion. At last, a small hill rose, revealing Zoar, a green island amid golden sands. White stone houses gleamed, olive trees stretched high, and a stream babbled through meadows. She exhaled, relief lifting a burden, yet tears fell, realizing the journey wasn't just escape, but a battle to rebuild. She embraced her daughters, whispering, "We're saved. Thank God for guiding us." Lot's wife's actions and growth weren't mere flight from sin, but a deeper struggle against herself, rejecting past temptations, overcoming fear, and embracing faith's faint hope. She became a symbol for all, that in life, though steps falter and hearts break, enduring faith can raise a guiding torch. When we trust divine grace, even barren deserts bloom with hope. As Lot's family glimpsed Zoar's skyline, Sodom blazed fiercely behind, a chasm of divine justice punishing brazen sin. Flames roared, sulfur staining the sky gold, hurling ash into the wind, shrieking like trumpets heralding judgment day. Lot's wife, eyes fixed on the horrific scene, froze in the desolate desert. Her breaths grew heavy, each one a hammer striking her chest. Her untold story, a nameless woman torn by inner conflict, reached its climax as a whisper not from man, but from her heart beckoned, a call to turn back. In that moment, memories flooded like an unstoppable torrent. She recalled salty afternoons with dear friends, picking ripe olives under ancient trees. She heard ringing laughter, saw wild flowers blooming around her home, and smelled honeyed feasts celebrating harvests. Dreams of a peaceful future, with her children growing under cool olive shades, flashed through her mind. Just one glance, she told herself, a fleeting look, surely no sin. But Sodom's flames, with sulfur teeth and fiery claws, stood ready to devour any weakness. She stood stunned, torn between soul and memory. Blinding light erupted from the inferno, gnawing at the sinful city's remnants. Golden smoke enveloped her, trembling her legs. She knew a moment's hesitation could cost everything: faith, family, life. Yet the human soul craves what's lost, deepening the pain of parting. Her mouth parched, as if her final words were trapped. The urge to look back surged, threatening to shatter her heart. This was the moment disobedience bore its price. Obeying God wasn't just fear-driven, but a leap over the abyss of worldly desire. At that instant, a faint white glow pierced the smoky blaze, settling before her like a seal of grace. She startled, realizing it wasn't a call to return, but God's reminder: hold fast to faith. From the earth a whisper rose: love for family surpasses fleeting desires. She felt a gentle warmth, like God's hand soothing her inner wounds. In that brief moment, she wondered, is the greatest test not fleeing, but daring to let go of oneself? Then fate struck as she tilted her head, closed her eyes, and stepped back, accepting the cost. Sodom's fire flashed, swift as destiny's fist, snatching her from this world. In that final instant, she felt no fear but an eerie peace, believing her act testified to love and faith. She turned to a pillar of salt, motionless in the desert, an eternal symbol of temptation and loss. That salt pillar, etched in legend, reminds generations of obedience's value to God. Yet her story doesn't end in personal failure. Her sacrifice, though unwitting, paved the way for Lot and their daughters to reach Zoar safely. As they crossed the small city's border, morning sunlight sparkled on lush olive trees, and they paused, smiling in awe and gratitude. Lot looked up, tears streaming uncontrollably, tears of redemption and reborn hope. He knew without her, he and his daughters wouldn't have reached this place, unable to continue their story rooted in love and faith. In Zoar, kind villagers welcomed Lot's family with bread, cool water, and heartfelt comfort. Lot recounted their grueling journey, and when he spoke of her turning back, silence fell. They saw not just a warning, but a lesson in willing sacrifice. She, the nameless woman, gave herself to save her family, teaching that true love conflicts with worldly desires, and redemption can emerge even through failure. Today, we often chase fleeting desires, wealth, power, fame, like Sodom's fiery call. Letting go sometimes demands a painful price, but in failure, we glimpse grace's value. Mistakes can teach others, as she sacrificed for her family's new beginning. Her personal defeat, like a seed in barren desert, sprouts love and hope for future generations. The salt pillar stands silent, an unchanging testament. Disobedience costs, but obedience frees. Zoar, with dawn's breath and morning bird song, proves redemption's vitality. This second home embraced those who release the past, with open hearts and enduring faith. Lot's wife entered myth, not just a witness to calamity, but proof of maternal strength, steadfast faith, and unyielding hope. The vast desert lies silent beneath the salt pillar, guarding the secret of that nameless woman's fate. Under blazing sunlight, the statue's pale salt casts a shadow on the sand, evoking the moment she turned to look at Sodom, a choice etched forever. Lot's wife, with a glance both yearning and sacrificial, offered God her whole heart. She never touched Zoar's oasis, where safety awaited her family, but her story doesn't end in darkness. Instead, her final act became a vivid lesson in imperfect courage and faith. In Scripture, women are often overshadowed by figures like Sarah, Deborah, or Esther. Yet Lot's wife, unnamed but deeply moving, proved even the humblest heart can leave a profound mark on God's people. She had no grand proclamations or dazzling miracles. Only a mother's fierce love and a choice to let go of the past for her family's hope. God's grace doesn't always save all. Sometimes it shines through the deepest wounds He allows us to endure. The salt pillar stands as a silent sentinel, reminding desert passers-by, temptation has its price. Each grain carries the bitter sting of suffering, yet radiates a mystical beauty, recalling humanity's resilience in the trials. Lot's wife, though turned to lifeless salt, teaches that faith needn't be perfect to be extraordinary. She paid the steep cost of looking back, a seemingly harsh penalty, but became an enduring symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. Today, we all carry our own Sodoms, temptations of wealth, fame, bad habits, or nameless weaknesses. When swept into desire's whirlpool, lured by fleeting promises, we face a choice: linger in darkness or bravely turn away, despite the cost. Her story shows that personal failure, like leaving a body as salt, can pave the way for others' progress. Her fall enabled Lot and their daughters to reach Zoar, rebuilding on faith and grace. The family's journey to Zoar, through countless dangers, mirrors every believer's faith pilgrimage. The path isn't always smooth, rugged stretches and stumbles abound, but trusting God's justice and wisdom keeps the guiding light alive. Zoar isn't just a place, it's the serene future a steadfast heart can reach by choosing wisely. Trust and press on, despite dark memories pulling back. Her story's message is simple yet profound. Faith doesn't demand perfection, but courage. Even in weakness, we can leave a legacy of love and hope. Failure or loss may be the price to open new doors, letting grace fully manifest. Choosing to move forward, to release the past, saves not just ourselves, but those we cherish. Lot's wife's brief tale is a light in darkness, guiding the lost. Subscribe and hit the bell to catch more inspiring spiritual stories. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us about your Sodom you look back at and how you overcame it. Share this video with friends and family in the U.S. to spread the message of courage, faith, and God's boundless grace. May God bless you and your family. See you in the next story of another biblical heroine.